Hello everybody, this is Easy Mode Gurpums bringing you another Marine Arena tutorial. Now this one will be jam-packed. We will have Lancer Micro, Corruptors, Overseers, and Ling Burrowing. Now we'll start off with the Ling Burrowing because that's what I do first since we're following in my perspective. Now what you're going to want to do is start with Lings and you'll select your first group of them and click them around the map and then hit R, shift click R so that shift basically queues up a command, so when they get there, they will burrow. Now you shift up that R, and then shift click one of the lings in the little box right down here. Now when you do that, it will take it out of the queue, and then you cancel the burrow command, so the other ones, when they get there, they will not burrow, and then you go to the next area. So one of them is queued up to burrow somewhere, and the other ones you cancel that queue and put it in another place, and bring another one out of the hotkey, and they will burrow around the map. I don't know if I explained that well, but it's as good as I can get, and now it's done, so one take thing. Next we'll get into the Lancers. Now I'll probably end up skipping this next part because I don't have Blink yet, so there's really no point in showing Blink Micro, so we'll just cut it here. Alright, now I have Blink, so we'll bring it back to here. Now Blink Micro is a simple concept to understand. You blink back damaged Lancers, but this is something that rarely do I see people do in public games. Now, this is something you can work for a very long time to get good at. There are people who play Lancers nearly every game and can still improve. And that's not an insult to them, they're still extremely good. Now watch what I do here. I will select the ones in front and blink them back. And another thing that a lot of people will do is blink them into a concave, which I will demonstrate soon. Now they're so versatile because right here I was out of position, but if I blink them all back, he gets almost no Lancer kills, well, Stalker kills at this point. And not to mention they counter a lot of units, which would be Marauders, basic Zerglings absolutely melt them, but Cracklings will destroy them. Hydralisks were very popular for a while, so Lancers were a very good go-to build then, but they've since been nerfed a lot, and so they're not quite as good. But you can see me just absolutely eat up all these Hydras here because they are countered by Stalkers. Now, Stalkers, you're not going to want to offensively blink in. This is something I see a lot of public game. See, I blinked in right there to get the Hunter Killer kill, but usually, okay, I lied. But usually you don't want to blink into armies unless you massively outnumber them and can outgun them with the blink in. Because a lot of the times, you'll just waste Lancers that you'll still get the kills anyways, except you won't lose any Stalkers then. Now, there are points when blinking in on a hero like I did with that Hunter Killer, you'll see me, I've actually already done it once to the Hydras earlier on, and I think I'll do it later to a Honey Badger and a Odin. Now, blinking in offensively is tricky because you have to know when you can take the people and when you're going to lose them. Now obviously I counter the Marauders, and so they're being melted also. Really I counter pretty much everything on the map in this game with Stalkers because they counter a lot of popular things, because Hydralisks, Reavers don't do well versus them, basic Lings, Marine builds like that. Most melee melt to them because you can blink back instead of stutter stepping, so I just blinked into a concave there. You're going offensive blink in because I outgunned them. I don't even think I lost a Stalker in that blink in. Now, it all comes down to what is happening at the moment. It's going to take a long time to get good at Stalker Micro, and this is something you can work on every game. You're going to want to position yourself better than everyone else, and you're going to want to blink back, like I said, and not lose mass. Not losing mass is basically all you're aiming for. Not only do you deny feed while still getting kills, but you also just can then take more people the entire game. Now, soon we'll get into the Corruptor and Overseer, which a lot of elites pair very well with Stalkers, because with Stalkers you're going to want to upgrade health, because survivability is key to them. So health, armor is not quite as effective on them since they only get 1 armor per up. Now if you don't know, armor basically just takes away 1 damage. 1 armor is minus 1 damage done to you. Now, health on the other hand, you can easily get them up to 400 health mid-game, and that makes, not only does that make them survive longer, but just Blink Micro becomes infinitely easier because they die slower. And making Blink Micro easier is perfect. They are a glass cannon unit. They die fast. If you just A-move them at everything, they will lose because they're actually fairly weak in terms of just A-move units. A lot of things beat them. Their counters will counter them very hard. Now their counters would be Cracklings, Snipers, Goliaths, Immortals, basically. Single target, no splash, anti-armor units. Anti-armor heavy, actually. I believe they're armor heavy. Mechanical heavy? I'm not sure. In any case, though, that brings me back to the elites, because something that a lot of people do not know is that elite energy regen actually scales up with health upgrades. So if you max out on health upgrades, your ravens are going to be secret missiling over and over and over. You will not believe how fast you can get the energy regen. Not to mention, if you get the new elite upgrades, the divided we fall upgrades, etc., you can have very tanky late game elites, which is something was not possible. It just didn't used to be viable at all. Another thing you can do with Stalkers is bring your Marines with them. A lot of people will cancel their Marines. I don't like doing that personally. This is just personal preference, because the Marines have 4.5 range at base. And so that basically means that they will walk out in front of your Stalkers and take damage from them. Since, like I said, it's all about conserving your Stalker mass. The Marines don't even matter. They're just there to tank at the moment. I mean, late game, you're going to want to save them. You blink micro Marines back even, if you really want to get fancy. But, Stalkers are extremely good at sniping heroes, as you'll see later on in this game, because the blink-in, while risky because you can lose a lot of mass, can easily guarantee you kills, which is why I said pair it with the Overseer. Not only does the energy regen from all your health upgrades that you should be getting help the Overseer massively. Actually, I should explain what Overseer does. It spreads creep, which makes everyone move faster. It drops changelings, which emulate other people's units and can explode like a baneling on command, and it stuns. This is the main thing. It stuns units, which is something that almost no one really uses in public games. But stunning a hero and being able to blink in on it is massively helpful. Now right here, you see I bought a Corruptor because there's a Honey Badger and Reavers. Now Corruptor, as you might know, Corruption gives plus 30% damage boost and slows the opponent. Now, that doesn't seem like that great of an ability until you think that it counters armor, because Corruption affects before armor. So say your Marines do 10 damage and somebody has 10 armor Reavers. So your Marines are doing 1 damage. That's what armor capping is. It actually might be 1/2 damage now, I'm not sure. But say your Marines are doing 1 damage because they have armor capped you. Now, if you get Corruption and you corrupt them, you will do an extra 3 damage to them. So you'll actually be doing 4 damage total, which is huge comparative to, I mean, you're doing 400% more damage with your Marines to those Reavers. So I just grabbed that Honey Badger. Not only did I slow down its escape, but I also did more damage to it and allowed me to grab the 450 minerals, and then flanked its Hunter Killers also. So I got all the kills there because of my Corruptor and the blink-in. Now, that makes them very good for sniping heroes, as you'll see with an Overseer, because then I can stun them. Because the stun is something, like I said, nobody uses it to its full potential in public games. Because being able to stun a unit from 9 range is, you would not believe how many games that can win you. Have you ever had trouble with, say, like a Queen or something? If you have Blink Marines and an Overseer, that Queen will actually have a hard time fighting your Marines. And yes, Queen does counter Marines to an extent, because they clump up, it does a massive splash. But with an Overseer, you can actually snipe a Queen, well, really any hero, except Honey Badger or Dark Archon, really well. Now, the reason I say Honey Badger and Dark Archon is because you're going to want to stack armor on them. Almost no one stacks armor on Dark Archon, which I think is really odd, because they actually get more than one armor skin. It might be 1.25 or 1.5, I'm not sure which, but you can armor cap just as well with the Dark Archon as with the Honey Badger, though it has lower base armor. Anyways, you'll see me jump into the Overseer part right now. I actually only end up using it once because the game is nearly over. You can look at the score. I haven't lost an engagement since I blinked in on those Hunter Killers the entire game. That's how helpful the blink is. It's probably one of the best abilities. It's probably the best ability on any mercenary there is. Also, you could take the towers like I just did. I mean, that's one thing that I see a lot of people also not doing. Take your towers, just do it. Don't use F2. F2 is, I mean, you shouldn't use F2. Not only can you not take your towers, it's just not good for really ladder or Marine Arena. Take your towers. Being able to see is one of the biggest tips that good players will give to new people, because it may not seem like a lot, but it's just huge. I mean, vision is just key. There's no another way to put it. So take your towers. Lancers are probably the best, Mutalisks, but probably the best ground mercenary for taking a tower, because you can just blink in on their tower as soon as they take it back from you. You can have it all game with a bit of multitasking. Now, I think that covers pretty much everything from there, so I'll just jump to seeing the Overseer use now. Alright, here I grabbed the Overseer, and to give an overview now, Basically, box lancers, blink back damaged units, they synergize well with energy regen, and use corruptors to counter armor. You would not believe how helpful it is, and you can see I just grabbed the stun right there and immediately take the Odin, and it's now GG. I mean, look at the scores, the blink micro and countering. I countered basically the entire map, so that's what countering does for you. You get 3 times the speed of everyone else. Oh, here I use some changelings. You can see they disguise and explode. That's fantastic. Always abuse changelings if you got a spare overseer after you've stunned all the heroes and killed them. And I think that sums up everything. Yeah.